7 Vols competed in the NFL Combine over the weekend in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. Who showed out and who had some tough days? We'll recap that, look at hoops, all that and more here on a Monday. Locked on Vols.
You are Locked on Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it. This is Locked on Vols, and I'm your host, Eric Kane. So glad that you elected to hang out with me here today and to listen to the show. Don't forget, Twitter Tuesdays coming up tomorrow as you're watching on YouTube. You can fill up that comment section with any Twitter Tuesday questions you may have, but please subscribe to the channel, and as always, subscribe wherever you find your listening podcast, making this your first listen each and every day. You can always find me at _Kaner on Twitter and at Locked On Vols. Get into those Twitter Tuesday questions. And the cue of the day today, question of the day, do you like Tennessee's draw in the SEC tournaments, all things considered? We'll get into that more later in the show. Obviously, Tennessee fell to Auburn. We'll talk about that in segment 2, meaning it kind of fell out of the top 4 in that double bye in the Southeastern Conference tournament. That's a big bummer, right? But if you look at the brackets, it kind of favors Tennessee a little bit. I'll get into more of that later in the show, but cue of the day, do you like Tennessee's draw in the SEC tournaments? All things considered, hit me up at _Kaner and at Locked On Vols. Cue of the day on Friday last week, where in the world are you listening to Locked On Vols or watching? Man, I'm going to try to, maybe tomorrow, I'm going to try to read some of those out. I got London, England. I got Wisconsin. I got Seattle. I got all over the place. I love it, and I can't thank you enough for that. Really, really do appreciate it. But what I want to do here in segment 1, kind of recap some of the Vols at the NFL Combine. I'm not going to get to everybody in every single specific measure or 40-yard dash time or whatever. I'm going to try to hit the highlights, all right? Before we get into kind of looking at how they performed, if you will, I want to play some audio. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a still picture here. But this is what some of the Vols were saying at the NFL Combine. Some of my favorite things that I heard throughout the week. And I had somebody reach out to me and say, you should start Monday's show with Hendon Hooker's quote about one-sided reads. And so for that, I'm going to do that. First thing on the docket, the question was kind of the offense. Basically, the offense is easy. You have a one read and you go. How's that going to translate to the NFL? Here's what Hendon Hooker kind of had to say to that.
I hope that defenders can't guard my receivers. So my job is to get them the ball. And
transfers to the NFL.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So a lot of these questions about one-sided reads and stuff, we have pure progression routes. It's not my fault. My first read is getting open. But we have, pre-snap looks, 1 high, 2 high, which side, double footwork combo. We have pure progression with an alert, with an option. So any of these questions, they're cool and all, but if you really dig into our offense and actually watch the film, then you would understand, it's elevated to a whole other level. And how fast that we're going, I have to process a lot of information at the same time and communicate with everyone.
I love that so much. He pretty much saying, well, your question's stupid, so let me try to be as nice as I can without telling you to go F off. It's kind of how I took it, right? Pure progression, routes in terms of the route tree and all that. And he's exactly right. But he says, it's not my fault my first read's always open, right? His first read a lot of times was Cedric Tillman throughout the last 2 years. In 2022, it was Jalin Hyatt. I mean, he's speaking a lot of truth there. But I love that quote there from Hendon Hooker earlier last week in terms of the meeting with the media and answering some questions. And so I want to lead it off there. We're going to hit 2 here from Jalin Hyatt. A question was asked, what more can you do in a different type of offense than what you've done in Josh Heupel's offense? Here's the answer from Jalin Hyatt.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you asked that question. We in Coach Hype's offense, we spread it out, look for matchups. We don't run the regular pro-style offense that a lot of teams run, and obviously what the league runs. I can't wait to show my routes. I can run routes, and just being in Coach Hype's offense, you see a lot of vertical things, this and that, but I can't wait to prove and, to showcase, what I can do other than going deep, what I can do underneath, what I can do when I get the balls in my hand, and just can't wait to showcase that.
Just because you're fast and you can take the top off the defense, it also means you're fast and running the underneath routes. You're going to run by linebackers. You're going to run by those nickelbacks or those safeties that are covering you in the slot. And so I thought that was a good answer there from Jalin Hyatt. Ask about who the best wide receiver is in the class, and no surprise here who Jalin says, but why does he say himself?
The double year one on your
Jalen Hyatt, Jalen Davion Hyatt.
and why?
Definitely number one. I'll say I'm dynamic. I'll say, just because, y'all can say, he's a vertical guy, one-trick pony, he does this and that. I do a lot more things than that. I can run routes, that comes easy to me. I can catch the ball. I have good catch radius. I have long arms. Catch everything with my hands, consistent. Not only that, you go look at the games, actually dive down, actually getting in the film. I feel like, man, I'm unstoppable. I feel like nobody can guard me. I feel like they fear me when I get out there. So I'll definitely say I'm wide receiver one.
We heard Hendon Hooker say it earlier. We just heard Jalin Hyatt say it there, simply politely. If you actually go back and watch the film and you look at the breakdowns, you can see what I can do. And so I kind of love that there. My favorite quote, and this is a long answer, I'm going to play it here, comes from Darnell Wright from Tennessee. The question was asked, kind of, how do you prepare? You had really good games against B.J. Ojulari, against LSU, and against Will Anderson Jr., against Alabama. Those were in back-to-back games, if you will. Kind of, what is your approach, and do you have to change your approach when going up against different type of guys on the edge? That question was asked to Darnell Wright. Love his answer here, and we'll talk about it after. This is what he had to say to that question.
So you say when you're studying for a guy like Will Anderson, you know that he's going to be mostly speed. So I break guys down into, you have category of speed, you have power, and you have finesse. Rarely do you have somebody that's gonna hit every single one of those categories. So you give them maybe 2 out of 3. So a guy like Will Anderson, you'll give him speed and power, but a guy like B.J. Ojulari, you'll give him speed and finesse. So going into against BJ, I would during practice, you would think that it wasn't a good thing to do, but I would overset. We don't have a BJ Ojulari on scout team, obviously, but I would overset every rep on scout team just because I know that BJ Ojulari, he makes all of his money on the edge. You know what I mean? That's mostly where he's good at. But his inside counter move isn't as effective. So going into it, say if you're setting, you want to stay inside out usually, but for this game specifically in practice leading up to it, I would set inside eye to the outside eye. So you would call it an overset, and you would think I'm out of position, but it's kind of I'm just baiting them into it. So, but then you have a guy like Will Anderson, and it's just a whole process.
How about that answer? I mean, breaking it down in about 71 seconds, and if he's saying that to the media, can you imagine the conversations he's having with scouts, NFL personnel, assistant coaches, GMs, when he's meeting with them at the Senior Bowl, and when he's meeting with them at the Combine, and when he's going to meet with them at his pro day? I mean, they're going to fall in love with this guy. I mean, that was an answer to the media. Goodness gracious. I mean, I tell you what, that's getting it done right there. I'm going to call an audible real quick, all right? I had planned on doing all the Combine stuff here in segment 1. I'm going to stretch it out. We're going to go to segment 2. I'm going to tell you kind of my thoughts on the performances, kind of what I gathered from Tennessee's guys, who had good days, who had bad days over the weekend. That's going to come up in segment 2, and then we'll bunch all the hoops in segment 3. So that is what you have to look forward to coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. But I want to tell you about a proud sponsor of the show. That is Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories? You have got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holiday season. I know a lot of you guys maybe want to drop a few LBs before it's swimsuit season, right? But you don't want to sacrifice the taste of dieting. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious, and they're perfect for that New Year's resolution that hopefully is stretched on into the 3rd month of the year. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And that's right, it is real chocolate. Unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter and brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how they do it, but they do it. 17 grams of protein in these Built Bars, only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar, but again, 17 grams of protein. And now you don't have to order it at Built.com. You can go to your local Walmart or Sam's Club and check them out there. That's right. At Walmart, check out to the pharmacy section, grab a 4-bar box of Built Bars. If you're at the Sam's Club, get a 13-bar box of Built Bars. Hit flavors like brownie batter, churro, cookies and cream, double chocolate, coconut cups, whatever you want. Walmart, Sam's Club's got it as well. And you can always shop at Built.com for Built Bars. All right, guys, welcome back into it. A Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys being with me here today. I'm Eric Kane. Get in those Twitter Tuesday questions for the mailbag show. That's coming up tomorrow. Anything on Tennessee Vols in the Combine, Tennessee football, entering spring practice. Tennessee basketball right now. Lady Vols. Hey, real quick, shout out Lady Vols. Took down a number 1 seed in LSU, the projected number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Took down LSU on Saturday night. Came up short against South Carolina, but again, who hasn't, right? That came up short in the championship game in the SEC tournament. But shout out to the Lady Vols and Kelly Harper. What a performance there. Also, it was mentioned to me over the weekend. I don't think I got back to her. She did message me. I think I mentioned last week that certain sports. I think I said that rowing was a club sport at UT, and I was mistaken. That's not correct. So, wanted to clear that up. That is a varsity sport at the University of Tennessee. I appreciate you for reaching out and letting me know about that. All right, so let's dive into the combine a little bit. I'm not going to get to everything. You guys know that, but I'm going to try to get to as much as I can. Who had good days? Who had bad days? Well, Hendon Hooker, of course, is still recovering from his ACL tear. He was checked out medically. I saw Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter both tweet about this over the weekend, saying that, hey, his medicals look really, really good. He's going to be ready to go for training camp, and that's a great sign. So that's good. But I mean, all he could really do was talk, last week while in Indy. He couldn't go through drills, couldn't throw, couldn't do any of that. And so we're going to focus on the guys who went through drills. Jalin Hyatt. Let's go ahead and start there. I think Jalin Hyatt would be the first to tell you that he did not have a good day. I don't think he had a bad day, but I don't think Jalin Hyatt performed nearly as well as what he could have. You look at this relative athletic score that some of these guys that cover the combine put out. This is from Kent Lee Plot. Excuse me. And you look at Jalin Hyatt's score, it's a 9.27, and that is considered great in terms of his athletic score, and it's a scale of 9 out of 10. Or excuse me, it's a scale of 0 to 10. So it kind of breaks it down. You look at what he measured, height, weight, all that type of stuff. Height, he was 6'1", which is kind of poor category for his position. Weight was 176, which is poor for his position for sure. He didn't bench. His composite explosive grade was considered elite. He had a 40-inch vertical, which is outstanding. He had he had 11-foot 3-inch broad jump, which is really, really good. But here's where Jalin Hyatt and guys in this position will make their money. That is the 40-yard dash. And Jalin did not run nearly as fast as what I thought, and many others thought that he was going to run. And I think he can run faster than that, but he just didn't. He ran officially a 4.41, I believe, which is not a bad score. I mean, a 4.4, you're still fast, right? But for a guy like Jalin Hyatt, and this is what kind of cracked me up a little bit, and I mean no disrespect by this, but like the NFL made that little cut up of, or what do you call it, a little time lapse maybe, if you will, of Julio Jones running the 40 at the combine, Justin Jefferson running the 40 at the combine, and then Jalin Hyatt. And of course, Jalin Hyatt ran faster than those two guys, and so they're like, Jalin Hyatt's elite, outperforming, faster than two of the most elite wide receivers in the NFL in the past 10 years. That's true, but like those two guys are known for their all-around games at wide receiver. Jalin Hyatt to this point is known as a speedster. So if like that's your one calling card, I mean, you want to be a little bit faster than that. And so, we'll see what happens at this pro day. He actually ended his day a little bit short, had an ice pack on his hamstring, a little bit tight, after he went and caught some balls and everything. But he had a 4.41 official 40-yard dash, and that's he can do so much better. That's not bad, but he can do so much better. I think everybody knows that. So I think it's a little disappointing, kind of like that with Jalin Hyatt, but he tweeted out after his performance on Saturday with the field work, said, hey, didn't have a great day. We'll be back stronger than ever. You know that. So I'm really excited to see how he performs at his pro day, because he better run. I'm sure he'll run again, because the 4.41 is not the best that he can do. And it cost him any hopes of being a first-round pick. We will see. He didn't have a bad showing. I'm not trying to say that he was disastrous, but it could have been so much better with that 40-yard time. That's how much a 40 counts, right? Right, wrong, indifferent. You're talking thousands and sometimes millions of dollars based on a 40-yard dash. Seems a little silly to me, but it kind of is what it is. Let's move on now to Cedric Tillman. I thought Cedric Tillman had a good day. I thought Cedric Tillman, I keep saying day, like the majority of the work that like each position group go, like I said on the show on Friday, like the receivers, the tight ends, and the quarterbacks, did their on-the-field work on Saturday. Cedric Tillman had a good day. He ran a 4.52 official 40-yard dash time, which is a good time for him. That's really good for him. And so you talk about a good day for Cedric Tillman, a low 4.5. Good on you. His composite size graded or checked in at 6'3", which is good. Weighing 213, which is good. His composite explosion grade is considered great. Vertical 37 inches. Broad jump of 10 feet 8 inches, which is really good. His overall score was a 9.22, which is considered good or great. His 40-yard dash time, again, he ran I believe an official 4.52 or whatever, and that was really good. And so, that's considered okay in this scale, but for him, that's really, really good. And it looked like he had a good day running, catching passes over the middle from various quarterbacks and all that. So it looked like Cedric Tillman went out there and made some money. So good for him. And he said that he is 100% healthy and ready to go, and he looked healthy. So good on him. Let's get to Darnell Wright a little bit. Now, I'm liking the stuff I'm seeing from Darnell Wright. The relative athletic score, 9.47, which is considered great. Again, the scale's out of 0 to 10. His composite size grade, his height is 6'5", is what he officially measured in at. That is considered okay or good. His weight's at 333. That's considered good. His vertical was at 29 inches. That's considered okay. His broad is at 9'7", which is considered good. His 40-yard dash time, this is where I want to get at right here. Holy moly. Let's see here. 40-yard dash time. He ran a 5.01 second 40-yard dash time at 333 pounds. Put that in perspective here. That's the third fastest among offensive linemen weighing at least 330 pounds at the combine since 2003. We are in 2023. So you're talking in the last 20 years at the NFL Combine, only 2 players who weigh over 330 pounds ran a faster 40-yard dash time than Darnell Wright. Again, what's it matter for an offensive lineman in a 40-yard dash time? Who cares? I'm with you. But that's where they make their money. I mean, everybody. I mean, not necessarily offensive linemen compared to skill guys, but still it's very important. So, I mean, that's just kind of putting into perspective how much of an athlete and how much of a freak that Darnell Wright is. Darnell Wright, again, going out there, doing the drills, showcasing his abilities. I knew this would be a big week for him. I knew this would be a big weekend for him. And depending on what he does at his pro day, I think there's still a chance he could slide in there to the back couple of picks of the first round. So it looks like Darnell Wright had a good day. Now, the guy who made the most money, in my opinion, is defensive end Byron Young. Wow. I mean, what a showing for Byron Young. A 4.41 official 40-yard dash time. Holy smokes. I mean, goodness gracious. 4.43, excuse me. Fastest edge 40 times so far. Nolan Smith led the way at a 4.39. He's an absolute stud. Byron Young, number 2 at 4.43. And the next closest was Robert Beal at 4.48. Now, both of those are 4.4s, Young and Beal. But the difference between a 4.43 and a 4.48, it's big, right? And so congratulations to Byron Young, man. He made him some money. A 4.43 official 40-yard dash time. Goodness gracious. You look at his composite score grade at 9.27, which is great. His height and weight is below average of his position, which we know that, obviously. He measured in at 6'2", 250 pounds. That's low. We know all that. His vertical was outstanding at 38 inches. His broad jump at 11 foot was really, really good. And his 40-yard dash time was elite for his position. So, congratulations to Byron Young. I mean, you talk about making cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That guy had a weekend. So congratulations to him. Last one I'll kind of talk about just a little bit. I don't have much information on it, but it's Jeremy Banks. Officially, he ran a 4.53 40-yard dash time, which is good. He stumbled in his first attempt, and he ran like a 4.7, but he stumbled. His second time was clocked at 4.59, but officially, the official times were running a little bit quicker than the unofficial times. Over the weekend, he ran a 4.53. So good on him in that regard. So, overall, I think Darnell Wright helped himself. I think Cedric Tillman helped himself. I think Byron Young helped himself the most. Jeremy Banks tested well and other things as well, so I wouldn't say that he hurt himself at all. I still think he's back at the draft, maybe undrafted type guy, but he got an invite to the combine, so that says a lot. I think Byron Young helped himself out the most, and I think Jalin Hyatt might have hurt himself just a little bit, which is unfortunate because, again, it's not everything, but his 40-yard dash time wasn't nearly as fast as what he wanted to. And again, it's still not bad. And it still might not hurt him the worst, but I entered this weekend saying, hey, I think we're going to leave here, talking about Jalin Hyatt. He'll be the talk of the town, right? And Darnell Wright. While I was right about Wright, I wasn't so right about Jalin Hyatt. So we'll see how he runs if he chooses to, which I'm sure he will at his pro day. That's coming up on March 30th. But that's it from Indianapolis. Congratulations to the 7 Volunteers who went down there and showcased their abilities. You got that checked off. Now you got your pro day. And then, hey, we're moving on closer to the NFL draft in Tennessee. Everywhere you look, Tennessee's big power tees up there. Still a chance to climb into that first round with a number of guys. What about basketball? Not a great weekend for Tennessee basketball. We'll get into that. What's it look like for the SEC tournament? All that and more. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. All right, guys, welcome back into it. Your Monday edition of Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Kane. The cue of the day. Do you like Tennessee's draw in the SEC tournament? All things considered, Tennessee's getting that 5th seed for the NCAA tournament, or for the SEC tournament, and they will open up from Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee on Thursday. And, of course, we'll bring you coverage for all that as the week goes on. But want to discuss Tennessee's shortcoming at Auburn. Don't forget, Twitter Tuesdays coming up tomorrow. Any questions, comments, concerns on whatever you got, basketball, football recruiting, baseball, football, spring practice, whatever you got, @_Kaner and at Locked On Vols, and right here on the YouTube channel. All right, so Tennessee falls 79-70. First true game, start to finish, without Zakai Ziegler. And Tennessee had, I want to say, about a 3-point lead with about 5 minutes to go or so. And then offense just did what it does sometimes. No field goals made for Tennessee in the last 6 minutes and 13 seconds of game action. Just not great. Tennessee into that game 0 for 7 from the field. Meanwhile, Auburn into the game making 4 of their last 5. Tennessee just couldn't get a stop. There were some laps defensively, and Tennessee just couldn't make free throws as well. Look at the free throws, 12 and 19. This is not a good free throw shooting team, making 63%. Overall, Tennessee shot 47% from the field in the game, shot 47% from 3. It wasn't a horrible offensive showing, but defensively, for the nation's number 1 defense, wasn't great. Auburn scored 79 points and, again, got super hot there at the end when they were able to come back, take the lead, and then hold off Tennessee, which was just really, really unfortunate. You look at the box score here for Tennessee, and there were a couple guys that showed up, but nobody showed up more than Santiago Vescovi. Santiago Vescovi finished with 21 points, 8 of 13 shooting, made 5 3-pointers, which is really good. He had 5 rebounds as well and 4 assists. He was a stat sheet stuffer, finishing the game with 21 points, easily leading all of Tennessee's scorers and second in the game, only behind Wendell Green Jr.'s 24 points. There were some other guys who stepped up. There were 4 guys that scored in double figures for Tennessee. 13 points from Tyreek Key, who came back and played 23 minutes, which is good because he missed the previous game with an ankle injury. 4 of 9 shooting from the field, which isn't horrible for him. 13 points. That was good, stepping up in the absence of Zakai Ziegler. And he got 10 points both from Josiah Jordan-James and from Julian Phillips. It was good to see Julian Phillips obviously continuing to be back, and Josiah Jordan-James. James got to play better if you're going to win these games. 4-12 shooting from the field. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. But someone that's really got to play better, it's Olivier Cumwell. And we talk about this all the time because it's so frustrating. He is so talented, and he could be so good, but he's so inconsistent. 7 points and one bad word rebound on the day. 1 rebound. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? Literally, what are you doing to only get 1 rebound? I know he is not a great rebounder. He never has been. But to get 1 rebound, literally, the question must be asked, what are you doing? I don't get that. I don't get that. But you're not going to get 25 points a game from Olivier Cumwell, but he's got to be in double figures. Again, you got to pick up the slack for the loss of Zakai Ziegler. He's just got to make that decision that that's going to be him, because you're going to get, in terms of offensive points, you're not going to get much from Jonas Adu, who finished 4 points. You're not going to get much from Jabari Meshack, routinely, who finished with 2 points. You're not going to get much from Toby Awaka, of course, and you're not going to get much. You can't normally count on getting anything offensively from Uros Plavsic, though he will surprise you at times. It's just unfortunate that Tennessee went ice cold, like it does offensively there at the end when you're trying to stage off a talented Auburn team that plays so well at home and plays so well against you, and you have a little bit of a lead, and then you go 0 from the field there for your last 7 shots. It just can't happen. It's not like Auburn was fantastic in the ball game. Shot 49% from the field, which is really good. Made 8 3-pointers, where Tennessee made 8 as well. It's just one of those things to where you're already playing shorthanded. You needed more guys to step up, and not enough did. And it's unfortunate. And because Tennessee lost, and because Missouri won, and because some other things happened the way it happened, you look at the SEC tournament bracket, and now Tennessee looks from the outside in on the top 4 seeds, which means they will play a day early on Thursday, which means if Tennessee were to run the table and win the SEC tournament again, they would have to play 4 consecutive days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You never want that. When Tennessee ran the table and won it last year, they played on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because they entered as, a 2-3 seed in that tournament? You get that double bye, and it helps you out a lot. So the way it looks like right now for Tennessee, the Volunteers will play on Thursday night. It'll be the second game on Thursday. It is the 5th seed, and it gets the winner of one of those playing games, either 13th seed Ole Miss, who's still without a head coach, or 12th seed South Carolina, who Tennessee has beaten by 40 twice already this season. So you like that draw there. If Tennessee were to win that game against whomever, it would move on to play Missouri on Friday. And Missouri's a team that beat you at the buzzer. Missouri's a team that is as good as anybody offensively in the country if it's playing to its potential, again, offensively. And it was able to sneak in there and steal that 4 seed away from Tennessee. So if Tennessee wins on Thursday against Ole Miss or South Carolina, that game will be first up on Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Time, so 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That's the game you want to watch. Ole Miss and South Carolina, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday. The winner of that gets Tennessee, and if Tennessee wins that, they go on to play Missouri. And then, of course, if Tennessee wins that and goes on to the semifinal round, you'll have to play likely top-seeded Alabama before moving on to the championship. So let's take a deeper look at this side of the bracket for Tennessee. The Vols went 6-2 in 8 games this season against teams on their side of the bracket, and just went 5-5 in the 10 games against teams on the other side of the bracket. Look at the other side of the bracket, right? You've got 2nd seeded Texas A&M and 3rd seeded Kentucky. You got 7th seeded Auburn, 10th seeded Arkansas, 6th seeded Vanderbilt. Then you got LSU and Georgia, which Tennessee wouldn't have any issue there. But on Tennessee's side of the bracket, again, it's Ole Miss or South Carolina. It's Mississippi State and Florida. It's Alabama, Missouri. Tennessee's had much more success on its side of the bracket than it does on the downside of the bracket. So there's still a chance, obviously. Can Tennessee try to figure it out? Can Tennessee try to find that happy medium with playing without Zakai Ziegler? We'll find out. But I do think it's very unfortunate that Tennessee is not. I mean, you're going to still be a top probably 16 overall ranking in the AP poll at some point today. But you're going to be the 5th seed in a down SEC tournament. A down league this year for the Southeastern Conference, and you're going to be the 5th seed. I just think that's super disappointing. This team is good enough to beat anybody in the country. This team is bad enough at times to lose to the level of its competition. It's just very unfortunate. There were some things I liked on Saturday without Zakai Ziegler. Also, there were some things I just didn't like. He's such a creator, and also, I mean, just the perimeter shooting, man. Ziegler's such a good defender. Such a good defender. You missed that at points in times on Saturday. So that's what it looks like for Tennessee in the Southeastern Conference Tournament. Cue of the day, question of the day. Do you like Tennessee's draw in the SEC Tournament? All things considered. Let me know along with your Twitter Tuesday question. That is coming up for tomorrow, that mailbag show @_Kaner and @LockedOnVols. Guys, I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for dialing in, tuning in to Locked On Vols. Let's do it again. Same time, same place. That's coming up tomorrow. Check out Locked On SEC or Locked On College Basketball. Make that your second listen right behind Locked On Vols. Again, same time, same place. We'll do it again tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.